Talking, he'd be stretching his hands, like that, and he'd take his feet and turn them back and stretch them. And he said it seemed like he was sore, just all over his whole body. And I know me and Billy Smith, his cousin, a lot of times we'd be up there and he'd say, "Would you mind rubbing my back with some of that lotion?" Said, "My body just seems to be aching and sore all over." I guess he thought it was from working as hard as you did on stage, He, in retrospect, and looking back, now you can see what the problem was. But it was much later and too late when we found out. Elvis told me one night when we were doing concerts, he said, "Charlie, about halfway through the show, I'm just totally exhausted." And I noticed that, his eyes, they looked tired. He was tired, that's all. At least that's what we all thought. Larry Geller probably was responsible for bringing Elvis more books that he enjoyed reading than anyone else. I know that shortly before Elvis died, he brought a list to me of books he wanted Larry to bring in from Hollywood. And while I was on the phone to Larry, Elvis got on the phone. Larry said, "I want those books right now, so you come in early." And Larry said, "I will," but he didn't. He came in the 15th of August. And he gave me the books, and I took them upstairs, and Elvis was asleep. I put them where he could get them, put the Shroud of Turin, Italy on it, on top. And then when we found Elvis, the book that he'd been reading there, the last book he read was the Shroud of Turin, Italy. But always his favorite book, and the book he read more than any other book, he always had one beside him in every bed he slept in, whether it was a motel room, a hotel room, or his home. He had the Bible. The Bible was Elvis's favorite book.
You were with him in the good times and the bad times. And as his closest friend, Charlie, please take time and tell us about the end.
There were all kind of rumors after Elvis' death. There was, fantastic stories, and most of them just rumors and nothing more. There's no truth to it. They discovered during the autopsy that the right side of Elvis's heart was twice as big as the left side, and that he had already had 3 heart attacks already and didn't even know it. And of course, he had a bad liver, just like his mother did, and they were trying to fix that. And he always had a trouble with high blood pressure, and his mother had that. Same thing. And also he had glaucoma, and he had to take medicine for that. And one day, I was over visiting Mr. Presley at his house, and Elvis's friend, Dr. Mikopoulos, came over and told us something that kind of cleared up a lot of things we'd thought about, of why Elvis was always so sore and everything. And Dr. Nick told this to Mr. Presley, and then he looked at me and said, "Charlie, this is in strictest confidence." And we didn't mention it to anybody. I didn't mention it myself to anyone until after Mr. Presley had died, and then I put it in my book. And what they discovered was that Elvis had bone cancer, and it had spread over his entire body. So that kind of explains stretching and wanting the body rub. He was hurting, and there was pain from that, and he didn't even know what it was, and we didn't either.